good morning and good evening. Let's begin the harmony circle. And before we move on, just taking another minute to ingather ourselves, to be more settled, to be more present.
पूरख विदाते सरदा मन के पूरे नानक दास यह सुख मांगे मुको कर संतन की दूरे
Thank you. And invoking divine grace and presence as we begin this session. So, this is what we had intended to take last time, and I thank you for your patience. Yeah. And so the topic that was decided was so what? And we did get, I think, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes of basic reflections in. And so what basically for me, it signifies that, I mean, when I think about the so what, I need to say, I need to remind myself to ask so what because I inherently, naturally take things very seriously. And I think here I see some irony that I feel that what I need to take seriously, I am not taking seriously. But what can be taken lightly is what I'm taking seriously. And I think that is what causes a lot of dissatisfaction. There's always this what is life all about? Why am I living? There are so many regrets, so much lag because I have made things big which don't deserve to be big. And the things that need to be big, they are just so out there because I'm so occupied with the things I feel I need to be occupied. So, yeah. So, we had seen a small video last time about from Ajahn Amaru. We can maybe just shortly, for just 2 minutes, maybe we can shortly see it and then we can begin because last time it was really all here and there. I don't know, I had opened. Yeah. One, please. Yeah. Yeah. So just maybe 2 minutes.
Forms that you've encountered, like the Chinese methods, but what was a method that Lumpa Chai used himself?
Well, he was like a kind of magician. He would keep pulling rabbits out of his hat. You know, he would come up with meditation methods so that he most often taught mindfulness of breathing, often using the mantra Buddho, like Bud on the in-breath, Do on the out-breath, walking meditation, walking at an ordinary natural pace on a path about 20, 25 meters long. he would teach a lot of contemplation, like using reflections on uncertainty. So one very simple method is every time your mind forms a judgment of liking or disliking, approving or disapproving, just to ask yourself, is that so? Is that a sure thing? Or that, like coming here this evening, I was supposed to get here at 5 o'clock for the interview with the Cheongsam. The Bangkok roads dictated differently. So we didn't get here until about 5:40. So are we going to get there in time? Will I get there by 6 o'clock for the Dhamma talk? Mai nè. Is that a sure thing? So a lot of active contemplation, or an even more simple reflection, just to say, so, I'm really happy about this, so, this is a disaster, so, this is exactly what I wanted, so, like, do you really, I can't really believe that she thinks like that, so, and it's extremely simple, but if you apply it, it has a whole life-changing. He would do things like,
Yeah, so I think that is enough to get us started. So, any reflections, anything we could think from last time about this? What is it about me or about things? What in me is wanting to take things so seriously? Everything, anything, any comment, any reaction, something in me stands up and is wanting to fight, or if not fight, feels hurt, feels helpless, feels, why is the world so cruel? So, yeah, anything before we move forward. Okay.
Saru, yeah. Yeah, you carry on. I'll speak later.
Yeah, so what I was saying is in the last week after we had the short session, when I was trying to do apply it, this so what. So what I realized is more often what happens is, when the situation comes and like you're going to get entangled into it, and then you sort of say so, the whole buildup goes away, and something in us feels very unhappy about it. Like, oh my God, like I can't complain about it, type of a thing. It's like it peaks, and then at that point you start saying, oh my God, what is this? Why should this happen? This and that. And then at that point, when you say so what, and then the whole buildup goes away. And then like it sort of just evaporates in a minute, but again there is something feeling very bad about it, like, oh my God, like I couldn't even crib about it, type of a thing. Now it feels so worthless. While yeah, so it was two sides. One was really happy and one was sort of cribbing on the inside, which was something that I could observe.
And that's such a beautiful observation, Meera, because we will not like to admit to ourselves that we enjoy it, right? We enjoy the feeling that, oh my God, मेरे से बुरा किसके साथ होगा या बिचारी मैं. And it's not something that we do knowingly. And yet it's happening right in front of my eyes, in me, and it just go through, not the surface, but it's going under the surface, and yet it's fueling me and making me. I mean, the pleasure is like, how one keeps rubbing their wound and feeling fresh pleasure, like even, what we say about dogs, right? They're chewing on the bone and sucking their own blood, and yet that's what it is. And when I have to give that up, something in me says that, oh no, this is also being taken away from me. So the question is that, oh my God, like, was this me? Was I wanting this? And once we do it in one thing, how Thich Nhat Hanh says that if you see one thing with great awareness, you just see everything. again and again it will start coming to us that, oh, okay, I was enjoying the pain, I want the pain, or the, poor me thing, whatever it's called. Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, Taru, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, see, just now, within 1 hour, an incident happened. I was, we started inviting people for wedding. So one of my friend, I sent invitation and she called me back saying, yeah, how are you? All that was over. And I invited her, till that, everything was perfect. After that, she said something which I could not take it. It hurt me so badly, so badly. Just now we came from Pondi. So all that trip and the darshan and our prayer, our calm, peace, everything, within no time, everything vanished for me. I felt so miserable. And, with that, we came home and I started doing my things. But when I was, sitting before the session, I just asked myself, so what? So if she says something, so what? So be it. No problem. So there was actually not an answer for that, so what? But yet something in me was, was wanting it, was wanting to feel bad about it. That is why I am not able to let go. That was my finding just now. It was beautiful. That very simple 2 words actually makes us lot of, it gives lot of realization. Actually, there is nothing in anything. If you want to grind over it, we can grind over it. If you don't want to let go of it, we can let go of it. So within these 2 words, everything is taught. Beautiful realization. Thank you so much for this, for introducing me.
No, you
Yeah,
already, you
beautiful.
were discussing last week how you were already practicing it. So, but it's like we have to keep reminding ourselves.
Yeah, I forgot about it
Yes.
totally,
Yeah.
So good reminder. Thanks a lot. And it is surprising that, something in us is wanting that suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful realization. Yeah, we should, as you rightly said, we should keep remembering and keep practicing it. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sadhu. So, hi, Madhu and Deepa. We just started. We saw a short video of, a monk talking about putting the question like so or so what when anything is happening, and see how it changes the dynamics of things. And Meera just very beautifully shared that when she tried doing that, she realized that, the drama was missing then. Like she couldn't, I don't know, feel helpless or sorry or sad when she was asking herself that, so what when something happens? So we were just reflecting on that. Yeah, yes, we did share about that. When Sarda ji was sharing that Kabir Doha, I don't remember it fully, which says, that we need somebody who can actually see that, what we keep doing is we keep throwing the main kernels, and we keep kind of we have the husk with us, na? हमको what we want, what is important, we keep throwing, and the coverings, the shells, we keep accumulating in our life. So the same thing I was feeling, that when something happens to us, if we feel hurt by something, instead of asking myself, why do I feel hurt? And for most of us, a lot of time, those are repeated things that keep hurting us. my child is rude to me, or my friends don't listen to me, they make fun of me, or my parents don't understand me, or that person talks rudely to me. The same thing keeps coming, and the same thing I keep feeling hurt again and again. And I think we had discussed it before too. We keep complaining that why does the other person do it, and not seeing that why am I not able to transcend this, get over this. So when we start questioning this, we see a lot of things we are taking too seriously. I think it was, mother, there was a quote from her which said that, man is the most miserable animals, out of all the animals, because he takes himself too seriously. I mean, taking things lightly, it sounds good that take things lightly, but take the things lightly which don't need to be taken seriously. And yet, my sincerity, my will to go towards where I want to go, my aim in life, that has to be taken seriously. So there's no clear-cut formula or definition. One knows for oneself that इसको मैं छोड़ सकता हूँ. This I don't need to. I can just see my lesson and move on. And this thing, which is, taking me here or there, and that requires some discernment on my part, right? What to let go, what to hold on, what to aspire for. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody would like to share anything? So maybe we can take 2-3 minutes and just close our eyes if we like to, and reflect on some things, maybe 1, 2, 3 things that actually trouble me on a daily basis, or in my everyday life, and just look at what troubles me. Since when has it been troubling me? And is it really that serious? I mean, it could be, but just for experimentation, let's look at that. Yeah, if we would like to share anything, we can. Otherwise, I don't know if this was helpful or not. At times, it helps me to just see where I am stuck, or what keeps poking at me and saying the same dance, making me do the same dance again and again.
Hi, it's my first time in the call, and so I don't really know how you guys do what, but I think for me, the biggest challenge, like I understand the power of doing so what, but I think the biggest challenge, like you, I think also mentioned, is really deciding like what is bigger, what is worthy of like, doing the so what and what is an actual issue. Because I feel that over a period of time, we can also fall into patterns where like everything can become big, but there are certain things that are big. And I think just figuring that out is important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very important point, because most of the things that we think are important are actually not. So when we take pauses in time, it really, I mean, if we are looking at something, I remember I was attending an unschooling session for my kid maybe a few years back. And the person said that give them responsibility. Say, we had 5-year-olds then, and she said that, if you're traveling, let them be responsible for their things. Like they are responsible for taking out the bags and to make sure they don't leave things behind. And I was like, oh my God, what if they just leave the bag? Don't I tell them that they have left the bag? She said, no. And I said, and then we lose the bag. And she said, so what? From, oh my God, we lose the bag to so what? I was like, yes, because she said, then you're teaching them something which is much more
Mhm.
precious. Once
Yeah.
they lose it, they'll remember it ever, that, forever kind, that, oh my God, I have to be responsible. But I saw that switch in me from thinking that, is she crazy? To, oh my God, yes, what they learn is much more precious.
Yeah.
So just that thing, that taking things that, so what? Like would that mean? Then what would happen? Then, okay, the child is not waking up for school and we are shouting and screaming that, wake up, wake up. What is the worst that would happen? They would not go to school or they'll go to school late. Right? So these things we have made really big in our mind, and does it deserve?
That kind of, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
So just moment to moment, day to day, especially starting with, you use this beautiful word patterns, right? Seeing those patterns in the day which poke me, which hurt me, which tell me that, oh my God, I need to pick up that Rani ki Jhanti sword and just create a whole havoc. So that's where we start. And from there, we get into those more subtler things which poke at us, which we might not even be realizing. And then they start showing up. But this is where we start. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else? Anything we want to share on this?
Yes, namaskar. So while helping me, look at things lightly, um, I was asking myself, Savitri, समझ में नहीं आ रहा. So mind roll out key. So what? Keep on reading. And again, have a training at my job that I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing anyway. So I say, so what? Let it be. Like in one thing I've realized also is I have this habit of reasoning for everything because within a limited mind with limited ideas and limited knowledge, if I'm trying to reason about something that is beyond my limitations, then I'll only end up thinking it doesn't make sense. So this so what somehow I didn't approach this method with thought that it will answer my issue with reasoning, but somehow it did. And I was asking, if I meditate every day, and what if the results don't come? So what? If the practice of breath, uh, how is it going to really give me, help me with concentration? And I say, you don't know, but so what? So to me, it kind of lets me step beyond my, limited mind with my limited reasonings and to just look at things the way they are and just try it out, experiment it. So saying is easy for me always. So I'll have to put it in practice and see and share in the session how the progress is coming. But yeah, that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, if you have something which you want to like share as an example that we can do the so what together, we can do it right now. Like you said, sometimes you find it's not taking, it anywhere. If there's something that you tried it with, if you want to share it, do it. Otherwise, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, so I've recently started having this Habits app. It's called Habits. It's on, I don't know what is it's on iOS, but in my Android, it's Habits. It basically, I entered a set of tasks to perform on in a day-to-day basis, and it reminds me at different intervals based on when I set it. And there were some really important ones that I really had to address every day, and I've not been able to stay consistent. And these things will also, not addressing them may affect my career, the career that I've chosen for now, this time frame. So I'm, every day before sleeping, I see this and I see, okay, आज भी नहीं किया, कल भी नहीं किया था, चलो, I'll try tomorrow. But there is this constant worry that, नहीं हो रहा, मतलब every day I'm thinking I'm not able to do it, and it's kind of adding up to the stress, unknowingly it's adding to my stress that this is not happening. So that's one thing where I want to take things lightly and just, you know go with it. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
Yeah. We make these lists, these to do things, these must do things, because they think they'll take us to be maybe more disciplined. They'll put more, I don't know, life into the way I live life. And yet, how you're saying that this app keeps reminding, and in the end, you feel really bad. I mean, that too feels a bit sad, right? That how the intention is for happiness, for joy, for contentment, for being more. And yet, here I just keep, I don't know, pulling myself down. I don't know. Yeah, so what? I don't know how to use in this, because it's actually, I mean, you've not been doing it, you want to do it, you're kind of building up on it. So it's like you're not going down, right? Like you are where you are, you couldn't do it before, you're not doing it right now. And yet the will to do it, the aspiration to do it will keep kind of, increasing that fire that slowly things would happen. But yeah, it's not worth feeling bad. And yet there is some feeling bad that is needed if one is trying to put discipline in oneself, because the body, it really revolts. Any change that it needs to do, it's a fact it does. So sometimes one has to, coax it, like one coax children that nahi kar lena, ut jana, acha please na, aaj ut jana. And so yeah, I mean, this thing with the body is there for all of us. And yeah, so there are some hurts which are good, which drive us forward, right? So to be sensitive to those is actually wise. And yet there are a lot of things which don't deserve the hurt that we can let go. Yeah, I don't know if I further confused you, but yeah, anybody else right now? So just to, kind of bring out more reflections, I have small clippings from Jet Sunmala that I had heard before and I could remember that might add some dimension to this. So we can take one up and see if there's something we like.
are two kinds of suffering, the Buddha said, right? There's physical suffering, which we cannot avoid because we have human body. Even llamas get sick, even llamas die, even llamas get killed in accidents, right? So that is because we have human body, the body is going to get sick. We all get old, we all get sick, we all die. But the mind does not need to suffer. Okay, so I get sick. Maybe I cut my thumb. Ow! Right? So now my thumb is going, whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, the blood, right? Bleh. Then my mind says, oh, look, my poor thumb. Oh, I'm suffering. I'm so sick. Oh. That's you. What a fuss you make. Oh. The point is that even though we hurt ourselves, the body is suffering, the mind does not have to identify with the body suffering. Yes, it can see it's suffering, it will do what it can, but it doesn't become overwhelmed by the suffering of the body. It knows that the mind is not suffering, the mind is not suffering, only the body is suffering. So this is the point. So he's saying that if our mind is under control, if our mind is tamed, then all the other problems which can afflict the body will not afflict the mind. So when we go to see, really good practitioners, then even though they might be very, very sick, maybe dying, but their minds are very happy, very light, they're not concerned with themselves. They are more concerned, they say to doctors and nurses, how are you? They're more concerned with everyone else. Oh, I'm okay, they say of themselves. I'm fine. How are you? This is true, so really we have to think about that. All the advantages in our life, if we could only get our mind tamed.
So this was basically on equanimity. And the reason why we get so swayed is basically we are not able to take things in equanimity, right? It feels that some things add to me, some things take away from me. And if this happened, I don't know what would that happen. So what she was sharing, I think is very beautiful, that we just take everything together, right? We are not able to differentiate. We are not able to put things where they belong. There are saints I personally know of too, who had like surgeries, actually both of them had cancer surgeries, and they did it without anesthesia. And when, the doctors, they refused that we won't. And they said, okay, let's start. Why don't you start? If it's not possible, we'll take anesthesia in between. And one of them had shared that, the doctor had shared that when I asked him that, is it not hurting you? I'm cutting and all this. And he said, जिसे दर्द हो रहा है वो मैं नहीं हूँ. So I am feeling the pain, but the one who's feeling the pain is not me. So this is my possibility as a human. It sounds really far-fetched right now when we are discussing it. And yet there are humans like us who do that they are able to distinguish, okay, pain of the body, pain of the mind, emotional pain, vital, uproars. So a lot of time when things happen, if I'm able to see what in me is reacting, does it need to react? What is the worst that could happen? A lot of times I have personally seen that they don't carry any value. The fears that come, the judgments, the oh my God, what would happen? They don't have much life. They're just there to scare me every time, like a default pattern. And if I sit and I question, they don't have much that they can actually scare me with. It's quite hollow. Yeah, any thought or comment?
Uh, I think the equanimity, when it lends to, I'm thinking, when we say equanimity, it means composure. It means calmness under stress. And that personally for me, I think requires a lot of discipline, right? Like I think it's almost like a daily practice so that when you are under those very difficult situations, you can maintain that calmness. And I'm thinking not react, totally out of character, maybe. That's one piece of it. The other one is that many things, at least in my life, that I have really worried about have really not come to be. So when I introspect or reflect on it, and I might have got very stressed at that time, and now I think about it that I was just, stressing for nothing. So that's, I think what, I don't know about the physical pain of it. I think it's just so natural that, when you cut yourself, the first thing is like, it's going to really hurt you. And obviously it sends signals to your brain and that's how you feel that, right? So I don't know about that when I'll reach that stage where I can be very calm. But I think it's, I don't know, I think it really seems that it's a lot of practice and discipline to be in that stage, to have that kind of calmness and composure even under duress. That's my thought about this.
Yeah, thank you, Vasu. The good thing is that we take baby steps, right? We don't straight away go for surgeries and say we don't know anesthesia. But I actually just sharing here that I had practiced this when I was having labor pains. I had labor pains for 3 days, 3 nights. And finally, on the third night, my doctor, she said that, mar jayegi, ab cesarean kara leta is, So she said that's enough. So I just kept repeating this again and again कि जिसको दर्द हो रहा है वो मैं नहीं हूँ. I mean, obviously I was feeling the pain and I was kind of obviously it was hard, and yet it was a good experiment to see that if I believe in it, if I just let go and I start shouting and screaming, suddenly it becomes bigger than it is. It's already big, no doubt. And yet this reminder, it was giving me something to hold on to. It was giving me that step back thing that ye main nahi hu. Matlab, I don't know why I'm sharing this here, but I just wanted to say that these things, when we are even having smaller issues, if we can just experiment during that time, because if we don't use this in our everyday, when the big happens, when this is actually really badly needed, then obviously I would not be able to use that. So, yeah, and there's somewhere I feel that I choose my reality. I choose what is big for me, what is not big for me, what is worth crying over. Because there are certain things you want to cry over and what is not. Every day, small things. So I had shifted houses last week. And according to me, the packing should have started, I don't know, maybe 4 days, 3, 4 days back at least. One starts packing things, right, in boxes and stuff. And the one I was with, he's totally carefree and he was like, yeah, we'll do it, do it, do it. He would get up, do 10 minutes, then again take his iPad and sit. And, there was something in me which was like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? Oh my God, kind of a thing. So one day I was doing dishes and I could see that feeling, like, why, what will happen, what will happen? So I kept doing the dishes and I started questioning me that, yes, you tell me, since you are really intelligent, why don't you tell me what will happen? So there was this voice that, we will not be able to pack on time and the U-Haul will come and it will be standing outside. And okay, so what? So, it will probably, we'll have to hire it for a longer period than what we absolutely must need to hire it for. Okay, so we'll have to pay for an hour or two extra. So what? What if we are not able to do, the handing over same day? We'll do it the next day. So what? So, I mean, it was just that it is, like Meera, you were sharing that there's something in me which is, which just says that this should happen this way, right? And I have my personal, this should happen this way. Everybody around me has their personal, this should happen this way. So my question to me was, what makes my this should happen this way better than the other person's, for example, right? And the point is, I am the one who's like, "Arey ho nahi raha, arey ho nahi raha." And I look at him and he's like sitting like, he's sitting on a beach with a beer in his hand as if. So which is the better state, right? So obviously, if I could do it, which I couldn't, they were heavy things and stuff, I would have done it the way I want to do them. Discipline has its place, and I'm not discounting that. But if you are in a situation where you can't do anything about it, and just sitting and just thinking that, oh God, oh God, oh God, ye ho kya raha hai, ho kya raha hai, what is it giving me? Absolutely nothing, but it's taking a lot from me. So this question that why do things have to be my way? Why don't I take this as an experiment? कि चलो जितना लगे लगे देखते हैं how it happens. It does expand something in me when I question my ways, when I say no. I know there's a voice inside me which is saying yes. And then whenever that thing, because it keeps coming, right? You question, you settle it down, then in 1 hour later, again, when you see so much stuff, again it comes that, oh my God, oh my God. So then I started basically using active chanting, that whenever that thing would come, I started chanting. And then I started clearly seeing that I have a choice, that anytime I'm getting poked, I can chant or I can go into the storylines of, oh my God, 10 years back also he didn't pack, 20 years back also he didn't pack, this time also he is not packing. Those stupid nothings which I keep holding on to. This reminds me, there was this joke that a foreigner, an Englishman comes to India and he sees women. I think I might have shared this before. I like it. Women having, those red bindis on their forehead, and he asked one of the men that, what is this? So he said that this is a recording button. They record everything, and 50 years later, when the right time comes, they play the recording that, see, you did this to me. And we do it. I do it. I have to actively now stop myself from using those things which probably hurt me, which means nothing, which meant not much then, they mean nothing now. And yet I let them rule me. So maybe it's time to remove the recording button or, delete the files because they don't serve anybody. Yeah, I just went on and on. So yes, please, if anything. No,
Thanks, Taruna, for sharing that. I think what you brought forth were points like what's in your control. That's what I heard, and also many things don't come to be what we worry about. And I think, I don't know whether I mentioned this before, is like the more we focus on something and put that, it grows. So if I'm focusing my fear on something, then it's just going to grow more and more. And also about worrying, it's good to a certain extent that one should be concerned and not absolutely carefree about things, because not everything is insignificant. But if that worry is going to help you in some way constructively, like as in provide some kind of a solution, then that's positive. But if that worry is just something that's going to beat you down and you can't do anything about it, then I think it's useless because it's just going to affect you. So I think what you just mentioned about all these points are very pertinent, and I've seen it personally also, that I think maybe even some things that you chase, they just run further away from you. And when you stop it and you just calm, it all comes even more. And the chanting thing that you mentioned, well, I don't chant, but still I would say, I think that really grounds me, is when I can just put a break on those very running thoughts and run away with them, and I can just ground myself. I think then I can be in a calmer place where solutions will come to me better, where I can work towards, okay, this thing's worrying me. Do I firstly need to worry about it? And if so, what can I do about it? And if I can't do anything about it, then I'll just let it be. That's pretty helpful, what you just shared, all those points. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Vasi. The one thing I did want to stress on, that when I discussed, share the chanting thing. So while I was chanting, while anytime that thing would come and I would want to take it to the other direction, something in me said that, you're just fooling yourself. That, okay, this is the situation, you need to do this. Ye kya chal kya raha hai? So then I realized that I have to choose my own reality. So says that, for example, in the example I gave, so why is packing or doing things on time more important than me standing here and maybe chanting? Like, why? And right now, if I'm chanting and not worrying about it, I feel I'm at a better place. So who says that is more real than this? But somehow there's something in us which feels that the everyday is more important. My everyday materialistic things, my relations, my duties, my responsibility is real. And these are just sidey things, that I do in my free time when I have, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes when I wake up. So the more priority I give it, the more I bring the bigger picture, the stepping back, the letting go in my everyday, the more they will be there, the more they'll grow in me, right? I don't do much. I read, I hear some speakers, I don't practice. And then something happens and I react like never before. And I'm like, see, nothing changed. That means this doesn't work. This is what I find the most amusing, that then I say this doesn't work when I have not even given it a chance. I haven't tried making that as real. There's this saint, he was in Vrindavan. His name was Akhand Anand. I love his name. I would have shared something from an Akhand Anand. Akhand means which cannot be divided, which cannot be broken. So Anand, so that was the name that was given to him. So in one of his talks, he had mentioned that agar ghar mein बच्चा आ रहा हो, मतलब you've got a newborn in your home, और घर से अर्थी जा रही हो, or somebody had died, the true equanimity is that your state of mind is the same. That keeps coming to me. I keep questioning that, and I wonder, how's that possible, right? In the life that I am living, how is it possible that if somebody had a baby or if somebody's dying, I can see the body going? How can I have the same state of mind? So it just feels that something in me needs to shift, right? It is not possible the way I'm living right now, giving importance to so many things that probably don't, I don't know, I have not even considered that if I can put them down. But I choose my reality. I choose what is important. I'm choosing to over identify with my roles, with my, names, with my positions, with this body, not seeing that this too, it's coming and it's going. Although things get very serious when we talk about, death or dead bodies, but it doesn't really have to be that way. But yeah, it is for us right now.
Would you then say that a sense of detachment would be helpful in these kind of situations when you talk about passing on of someone or the birth of someone, because you're not really attached so much, you're like have the sense of detachment that this all is a part of life?
I think absolutely. And if on my daily basis, if I am connecting with something which is bigger than this body, right? If I'm able to connect with my center, with that oneness, with something, with that witness which is seeing, then also I think it really helps in, the detachment or the stepping back, that I am here. I might be crying or I might be shouting. And yet there is something in me which is just sitting silently, which is just observing, which is saying कि जिसको दर्द हो रहा है वो मैं नहीं हूँ. And it is a reality. It's not just a dialogue that sounds pretty. So yeah, I just not saying that I think it's really very easy, but just again, reflecting that how does one reach this stage of equanimity that one can even do this. So it did feel that I'll have to rise, like sitting where I am sitting. It does not, feel possible. I have to take things in a bigger picture. I have to take the bigger. Yeah. So I'll share another clip on this. Can wait, I think one on this.
We have a thought stream, right? We're endlessly thinking. We're swimming in an ocean of thinking. And normally we're swept along by that thinking. We are our thoughts and we believe our thoughts. So now it's like a river running. Normally we are swept along by the river. Now we're sitting on the banks. We're just observing the thoughts. We're not judging them. We're not trying to stop them. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, just thoughts. And so first we begin to learn how to observe the mind. Right? Then when we learn how to observe the mind, then we start questioning the mind. What is a thought? Where does it come from? Where does it go to? What is it? What's it look like? Then what is that is thinking? And so slowly we begin to look at the thoughts, and we see that all the thoughts that we think are so solid and real and true because I'm thinking it, they're just bubbles. You know, I mean, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, right? You think one thought and it's gone, it's something, another thought come up. They're therefore like a bubble. You blow it and it's all shiny and it looks so real, but you go click and it's empty. And all our thoughts are like that. They're empty. They're not real. They're not true. They're not solid. They're not enduring. They're just moment to moment impulses, mental impulses, just like this.
Yeah. So, you know, I find this really interesting, this sitting with oneself and, you know, one when is looking at thoughts and, you know, one is trying to concentrate on the breath and stuff. And along with that, if one can just one time just experiment, just sitting with what is a thought. You know, it takes me from, I don't know, here to there, and totally it can either give me more rest or make me totally restless. It's like, you know, fire in my pants and everything happens just in my thought. What is a thought, like he said? And how, you know, it's like, again, all the our ancient scriptures, so many masters and mystics have said that, you know, you are the ocean. Stop rising and stop associating with each and every wave that comes up and down. You are the ocean. But the fun that is there in the rising and falling is not in the depths. And the fun that is there in the depths is not in the rising and falling. So, which fun do I want? Yeah, anything on what we just heard? Again, very short video about how the mind totally gets boggled over. So it, yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to share something very funny. So as she was talking, I recollect some a recent incident that I saw. I mean, it was a picture, basically. So it was in a temple, and there was a monkey, and the deity had like a mala of like some chana dal or something, and this monkey like jumped from nowhere, and then sitting on the deity to like pull out the string, and then it was looking left and right, left and right, left and right, and was so nervous. Like, you know, wondering if any human is nearby, so that they'll stop him from like sort of chewing that thing. So like the moment he knew that nobody was around, he quickly grabbed it and then he jumped up and then he disappeared. So as she was saying it, I don't know why, but I could resonate to this. Like our mind is literally like that, right? So you're looking left, right, and the moment like you're not vigilant about it, you just start chewing on something, and after that it's gone. So,
Yes, thank you for sharing. So, you know, these observations, they are so helpful when they, you know, when you can turn it and you see that when am I being that monkey or when am I doing that? That's when things start changing, right? When you start seeing everything about that I am that monkey. Yeah. Yeah. Any other sharing, any other issue, problem, things we face in when we're talking about questioning the everyday issues and using something like, you know, so what? I was reading just about equality, equanimity, And there were some words I found from Sri Aurobindo, which were very beautiful and quite, it's very simple, just one line. It says that we might say that equality is the very sign of liberation. Right now, everything is pulling me in different directions, right? Small, small things. This means this, that means that. If this happens, that means this is there. So equality is the very sign of liberation, freedom, right? And the second is equality is not mental quiet, aloofness, indifference, vital quiescence, nor physical passivity. Like we can associate indifference with equality. We can associate indifference with the so what approach. And I just wanted to make sure that we are not we are not thinking that's what we are reflecting here today. It's not that no matter what happens, I'll be like, so what? मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Because it's very easy to just go into the indifference mode. And it's really hard to not be comfortable, to not be able to do much. And yet, say, I want to keep trying, I want to keep trying, I want to do something about it. So passivity is not equality. It's just taking the highway when you, yes, Deepa.
So the doubt in my mind was absolutely about what you were saying about the passivity. For example, is it possible that some people use spiritualism as an escape, treat it as passivity to avoid sometimes their responsibilities, their duties, or the next actions? I'm speaking it from a very personal view. Like I'm new to Canada. I'm supposed to give my registration. I need to get back into my profession. I need to clear the exams. It's been 4 months, but I've not opened my books as yet to study. And I'm using one anger that I'm so qualified. I've practiced for so long. Why do I have to come about the passivity, for example? If you're in that confusion, that are you using this as a distraction and you're not doing what you need to do, it is best to do what you need to do and also then do your spiritualism. So then you're able to differentiate whether is this a distraction or this is something that you really want to do ahead with spiritualism. You want to develop yourself further with this. So I think we use a lot of reasons sometimes for not doing things which we perceive as unpleasant. For me, if studying is unpleasant, I might use a lot of reasons that I'm beyond this right now. And I need to do the studying. I need to do my chanting. I need to do my meditation and see what makes me feel more at peace. And it could be all three, because I've done my duty. And in that duty of everyday life, also I found time for meditation, and I found time for prayer, and I found time for chanting. It is once you've overcome the duty sense and you've done what you need to do, then you may continue to spend more time with the meditation and chanting because you find that so much more fruitful in developing your personality. So I think we should not confuse it with passivity, as Monica and you have also said before. Spiritualism can exist with your daily life and chores and duties and responsibilities as well.
Actually, I don't see much distinction. If you could elaborate, if you could give me more example, that how is it not part of how is it different than my everyday life? Like you're talking, the way we are talking right now, it appears that this is my life And here is spiritualism, and I have to take components of it and include it. So if I am breathing, which I am breathing, I don't know how many times a day. And if what we are saying is, okay, can you maybe take out 2 minutes in your 24 hours, maybe thrice a day, and just focus that, yes, you are breathing. How is it not part of my everyday is my question. Yes, Meera, thank you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, I get your point that you can be mindful about everything that you do, and it is just the way your life is. I think my question was sometimes, like you said, people with white robes or just general people, like you see them. This was my perception before, when I used to see people always praying, always chanting, and I've known people very closely in my life. Now I want to go to satsang and I want to do this and I want to do that, and I don't have time for doing certain chores around. If that, or for example, there is some issues at home, people don't want to get into that discussion. They say, okay, I want to go for the temple visit. I felt maybe people do use spiritualism to get away from the hard realities of life. So this was my perception again before, that people do sannyas because they can't deal with the trauma, they can't deal with the pain. That is the best dissociation that they think they can do. You see people just going off to Varanasi and then becoming total like cut off from their bonds and emotional ties. I guess each people react differently to trauma, but when that happens, I always assumed that this was their escape. This was running away from the harsh reality of life. It now, when I'm thinking, it could be that this is the way they handle their trauma. But so how do you differentiate, rather than be in the situation, fight it out, and then decide, okay, I've overcome it, and now I'm going to cut off ties? How do you differentiate between the two?
Yeah, I think again, it depends on person to person and situation to situation. What you are calling as their escape, maybe the life that they want to experience. Like if I say that, okay, going to Varanasi and just leaving everything is easy, the question is it? Does it not have its own challenges, own traumas of, renouncing everything and leaving? Sometimes I've heard people use, like, okay, wo to, like, how Buddha, he left his responsibilities and duties. How easy was it for him to just leave a newborn child, like, how irresponsible, and to go and become a Buddha. हम तो ऐसा नहीं करेंगे. तुम ऐसा कर सकते हो? Do I even have the औकात to do it? And yet, when he did it, imagine a king becoming a beggar, right? Not just literally, but factually, not just saying this. He did started begging. He practiced so many hut yogas and all and stuff. So the point is कि एक तो मुझे किसी की स्टोरी पता नहीं है तो मैं जज नहीं कर सकती, right? कि why somebody is doing what. Yes, people could be using this as escape. Maybe they can see more later on. Maybe that's their journey. And yet sometimes pain pushes us so much that we cannot be there. We have to get out. And that, again, if I'm able to get out, I'm at least able to then live. Otherwise, I might have killed myself, for example. So that could be somebody's journey. Or somebody had to be pushed towards a certain experience and something happened to them and they said, nahi, ye maine dekh liya. Matlab, why do I consider this grahast life as real, as pious, as pure, as the responsible life? And why not the other? In the monastery, especially in Tibet and all, they say that, when they are doing prostrations, when they are doing chanting, Can you hear me? I get this thing that my net is not. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but sometimes I think it kind of breaks off a bit.
Okay. So they say that, because people don't know, lot of us don't know the importance of chanting, but I do. Let me chant for everybody. Because people don't know that how praying is helpful. Let me pray for world peace, for everybody. And every prostration I do, because not everybody knows the importance of bending their head and surrendering. When I bend, let me surrender for everybody. How can I say that they are taking less responsibility than I, because I'm taking care of my 2 children, my parents, my husband, right? That is my limited thinking, which is saying that this is a position of responsibility and that is escaping me. So let me, reflect more on that. And yet, anybody could be taking anything for anywhere. How am I taking it is the most important thing, right? And like you were sharing that, okay, I have to study for my exam. That is also my duty, my responsibility and stuff. But what if I've done that enough? What if the fact that I am not able to go back to my books is a hint that, the being doesn't want to do that anymore? So that too, I mean, it could be laziness. Then I must try. But if I'm feeling a repulsion or attraction towards something, and this is one life I have, and if I can afford to, that also means that I must explore, right? Life is too big. I keep saying that, okay, if I do this, that is responsible, irresponsible. Duty, not duty. Right, wrong, right? These are all my definitions. And there are times when I have to now expand these definitions or let go of the definitions to see what life can be, right? What is responsible for you could be not responsible for me. It could be the opposite, right? So just looking at things from a more step back position and wondering, okay, why am I holding on to this? Why am I defining it this way? And we all want to be free, right? When we hear the word freedom, flying, but am I letting myself free by these definitions, these limitations I keep, अपनी लक्ष्मण रेखा मैं खुद बनाती रहती हूँ. And then I say, oh, why can't I be free? I want to breathe free. I want to fly. So उड़ो ना, है ना? खुद से खोलना पड़ेगा कि नहीं, मुझे और नहीं खींचना. The whole life, 40, 45 years, I have lived like this. Maybe 1 year or maybe 1 month or 2 months, I can experiment with that freedom. डर क्या है? I can go back anytime. But if still something in me feels, that responsibility is there and I must take it, I should go back till I can be more, kind of clear about it कि नहीं, मेरे को नहीं जाना. तो वो जाना भी जरूरी है. बट अगर समझ आ रहा हो, ये समझना वो भी मेरी डेफिनेशन थी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की, और अब आई कैन लेट गो. दैट टू इज वाइज. Yeah.
Thank you, Taru. That was really good.
Yeah, considering my voice is breaking, I think. I don't know if we should take it further, but if there are any, comments, anything before we end, it'll be good to take them now.
Yes, I really like that discussion and the question that Deepa put forth. A lot of it also resonated with me earlier. I personally think for me, spirituality is, I was going to say it's a way of life. Now I'm trying to put that into practice. Not a way, but I just think it's life. I look at it in a way that I'm more spiritually inclined than religiously inclined, because all these, whether it's these sessions or the study circle and the company and the sharing, just helps me to be a better person. And for me, that is a very big outcome if I'm able to work towards that daily as a daily practice. Yes, it's possible that I could take spirituality also as a refuge, but I would say that it's still better than maybe my Netflix binging or getting into some kind of an addictive behavior, which is not helpful for me. So for me, this could be my refuge. Yes, sure. Like you said, that, maybe you need to take some time to just step away from maybe all the chaos and just help to be grounded so that things make sense. And then you can lean towards spirituality as well. But I'm not thinking of it as a one-time thing. I'm really thinking of this as something that I can put into my daily practice, just because I think it really is very practical. I feel spirituality is very practical. It's not telling things that are not within the reach of a common person. So I do like that I can be in this kind of company, and all the videos and all the sharings, that every time I come out of a session, I'm learning something, and it just makes me feel so much rejuvenated. So even like the Saturday session, like I like that I can start my day with a session like this, which is a good start to the day. So
Yeah, thank you. I think, till I keep taking it, if I keep putting it in a special pedestal, this is me and this is spirituality, nothing flows. It just remains at a, experimentation level. And when I actually start living it, like, it is the way of life. If I'm just doing everything the same, there is this thing I think sharing with Jagan yesterday, I couldn't remember it. Like before enlightenment, eat a sandwich, and I don't know, have coffee. After enlightenment, eat a sandwich. So that thing changed. It's not, Kabir ji was a weaver. He used to write his poetry, he used to talk about those things, and he was a weaver, like before, after, in the middle, everything. So again, we have these images, these definitions, which are not needed, which, again, coming back to the breath, right? Can you sit with your breath for 2 minutes? I don't need to go out of this life to sit with that. Okay, so I think we'll end the session. I'm again apologize for the internet. It kind of cut the flow, but that's so what, right? So yeah, so we'll end this session here. Again, from the depths of my being, thanking grace for the opportunity, the ability, the capability to question my ways of existence so that I can choose better, choose lighter, choose higher, choose truth over false, choose peace over, I don't know, the daily grind. Not many are fortunate to be able to have this opportunity, but I do, and I'm so grateful for that. Sharing the merit of everything, of anything with everyone. May all beings be truly well, truly happy, have peace and joy in their heart. I sincerely pray and aspire for that.